Welcome our viewers to the third episode as we talk about tent making. And today we want to talk about today. What is our context today and how does tent making apply to us where we are today? And this applies to people all over the world, believers all over the world who want to obey the Great Commission, and especially for our African context. So what can we do as we think about tent making? And I'll just give us some good reasons why we should think about tent making. And remember, we said that the primary way that servants of God should be supported, pastors, missionaries should be supported, is through the giving of the believers. That is what the Bible says. The Lord has commanded those who work for the gospel should get their living from the gospel. But it's also good to consider there are circumstances, as we saw last week, the other time, that Paul talks about reasons for tent making. There are circumstances that may make you go into tent making. So here are some four ways that tent making can help us in our time, or some considerations. Number one, tent making will help us gain entry into closed areas. Maybe you want to reach a certain people group, but they are not welcoming to believers, to missionaries, to pastors, to churches. You can go in there and be employed in that community. You can go there and work and serve. And as you do that, you can go there and start a business. And as you tent make, then because they are welcoming people to come and work and start businesses and investments, then you can be able to reach them with the gospel of Christ. The second thing is that it enables sending from less resourced areas. It enables sending from less resourced areas. Maybe you come in a country where it is not culturally accepted for one to go raising support. You know, there are families where you cannot go out asking people for money. That is bringing shame on the family. Maybe they don't do fundraisers, you know, or you come from a country where the economic situation is not doing well, and you may not be able to raise all the funds you need to go as a full-time missionary or church planter. So in that case, then going as a tent maker will help you to be able to go. Okay? The third reason is that in tent making, we want to make the most of the already existing trends in the world. What do I mean by that? We are living at a time where people are really migrating. Immigration is happening so much. People are traveling to different countries of the world, either to study or to work or for treatment. There are so many reasons nowadays that are making people to move from one country to the other. And as we think about that, for example, there is a global need today in healthcare. I hear there is a big shortage of nurses around the world. And as we think about that, nowadays even countries are encouraging people to do nursing courses, and then you can go and be employed as a nurse in that country. So those are the trends of the world. People are going to study, people are going to work, labor force, for example, in the UAE. And as people do that, it is for us to open our eyes and see this is the trend that is happening. People are really moving from their countries. Then we can get hold of these young people or whoever is planning to travel, and we take them through a missions discipleship, a missions training, so that as they go, and as they go they have their support, then they can be able to go in those countries, in those areas, and become the light of Christ in those communities, you see. So we can make use of that trend. Lastly, number 4, tent making enables Africa to send more missionaries out there and to lead the mission agenda. As we have been saying in these sessions, is that Africa has the highest number of believers, Christ followers now. And looking into 2050, there will be more believers in Africa. So by us doing tent making, since we are a little challenged, that is a fact, in Africa economically, by us thinking tent making, we can be able to send out more missionaries and therefore be able to lead in the mission agenda of God. Remember, God has many ways of fulfilling his purpose. maybe this immigration issue is just a way of God sending us out to the nations. So may God bless you. I hope you are able now to relate tent making and our current world today.